are alive. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Let's start the hard bass, comrades.
All right. Previous on Burning Subjects, I read the entirety of the Age of Steam Roundhouse's page, while most of the facts were wrong, and realized later when Ryan ratted me out.
Yeah, some hard bass.
And what was one of the funnier moments that happened? What happened?
Well, at one point, your mom called you and you talked to your little brother in the background.
That's not funny, but
you guys heard the Russian hard bass, right? Or not?
I'm not sure.
Hold on, I gotta double check this back on the stream. I will gather myself for a few seconds, you bloody tic-tacs.
Okay.
Now, before we begin, I would like to apologize for not being here for you guys for the past few streams. But that's because I have a part-time job with my local Dollar Tree store now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, some of us have been busy. But
it's been working out for me somewhat. And partly since the very last one, I left a script for Andrew to read off for Lake Superior Initiative number 33, and yet it sounded like you read off of the AOSR zone description instead.
I did, because I forgot that you made one.
Damn it, the hard bass didn't pick up on screen, motherfucker.
But anyway, though.
Then again, Andrew?
What?
I need you to play this music really loud, okay?
What music?
What I just linked you in the chat, you tic-tac.
What is it?
Russian hard bass. Also, hi, Tyler.
Yes, one of our more reliable viewers.
Chicken fries, fried chicken and watermelon on a daily basis in my mess hall. Private Snowball. That is a very unsubtle Full Metal Jacket reference right there. Hold on. I need to test this. If it actually picks up on the stream. You passed the test, comrade. You may pause the music now.
Okay. Anyway, though. Last time... Well, first off, let's let Ryan correct the wrongs that I have committed.
Yeah, first of all, you're not quite done with switchers just yet since you left out one.
Wait, which one did I leave out? Oh, yeah, that's right!
Baltimore, Ohio, 1190.
Yeah.
We could talk about that a little bit later.
You know what? We'll do like
now, first off, what?
What
were you going to say?
Continue.
Okay. First off, number 33 was not built in February, but rather in April, so no different than the other SC1s. And if anything, it is actually the youngest of the SC1s and not the oldest. You would just think that it's older than the others because a pretty complicated renumbering system took place in subsequent years.
Oh.
Another thing is that you guys left out the fact that all the SC1s were modified in the 1930s to have their tractive effort raised from 55,900 to 60,484. And that was without the help with our booster trucks.
What was this modification then?
Wait, was it the 200 PSI boiler pressure? Yes, I guess you could say that, but also because they got new tenders.
Okay.
Okay.
How would the tender increase the tractive effort, though?
It doesn't. Well, the boiler pressure is still a pretty big part, too.
Yeah.
fuel and water capacity. But anyhow, another thing, the real reason why number 33 was removed from service on the Hocking Valley Scenic is that, well, it was somewhat worn out by that point, but it was a certain explosion that you guys can rant on about later that
What?
caused number 3. What?
Explosion?
A certain Pacific.
Yes, 1278. Kaboom.
Yeah, which
You
we're
guys
gonna.
can rant on about that later. But new FRA regulations caused number 33 to be retired in favor of new rules. But unlike most other locomotives removed from service in the mid-90s, number 33 got an extra downfall since the Hocking Valley lost all access to their one and only shop building since the land it stood on was bought out by a different owner. Any reaction to that? No?
I didn't.
Okay. One last thing, which we all did kind of find out fairly recently, is that number 33 was once seen in the 1976 movie.
Yeah, it was wasn't it where didn't it have a balloon stack in it? A diamond stack?
Yeah, it's a small fake diamond stack and a fake oil lamp. It was called Harry and Walter Go to New York. But its appearance was very brief. That's all I have to say about 33 for now.
Okay. But anyway,
Are you going to go to the cool wall now, or are you going to go straight to the subject?
we have not been doing the
subject.
in this subject we haven't done the cool wall the entire time. So we're gonna continue on with that tradition. So
Also, I'm ringing Josh.
yeah, where is
Because
Josh?
the stream has started.
But
He
anyway,
wasn't here, but then he left. Also, Brendan left the whole group.
well anyway though.
Why don't you talk about 1190 first so you can finally get the switchers over with?
Okay. Well, I don't know anything about that locomotive.
Just read off the AOSR's description page.
Okay, and correct me if I get anything wrong. And if you don't, please correct me if I get anything wrong. Okay. Where is it? Oh, there it is, too. It's taking. Why is it taking so long to load? Okay. Okay, there we go. Woo! Okay, it actually looks nice in its okay. I'm gonna be honest. I've never heard of 1190. So, well, I've sort of heard of it, but I've never really actually known anything about it. So, so 1190 was built by the American Locomotive Company of Berksburg, Dunkirk, New York, in January.
Yeah, Dunkirk, New York.
Okay, in 1904 as Buffalo, Rochester, and Pittsburgh number 152. Doesn't that number sound familiar?
What number?
152.
Sounds suspicious.
Yeah, it sounds incredibly familiar to
Yeah, that one, Louisville, Nashville Pacific, that's still around.
I wasn't thinking of that locomotive. I was thinking of an Alaska Railroad 10-wheeler. Anyway.
Okay.
And unlike the Louisville Nashville 152, the Alaska one is still running. Anyway. It's an 060, obviously. It has 51-inch drivers, obviously. Switcher. It's got a cylinder bore of 20 inches in diameter and a 26-inch stroke. Boiler pressure 180 psi with, oh my god, It's got the exact same tractive effort as an S160. And I mean
For
the
real?
the exact same tractive effort. 31,200 pounds. But anyway,
Imagine that.
then again, S160 very light. But anyway, but so let's get to the history. Well, as I said, so today it's also the only existing BR&P locomotive and a run-of-the-mill switch engine in most aspects. It is equipped with inboard piston valves and Stephenson's valve gear, necessitating the somewhat rare angled arrangement. Oh, that's why the cylinder's angled like a V kind of thing. Well, sort of.
Yeah,
you guys,
upside down V.
yeah, and up
That's
like
somewhat
a
common to 1900s build locomotives.
like a pyramid. But anyway,
Oh yeah, stuff like that.
it's like a 13, similar
If it's a
to
built like that, you should expect Stephenson's link motion for the valve gear.
similar to a certain a 10-wheeler. I think you know what I mean.
Good old 1385.
Yeah.
Great Western 10-wheeler, really. With 2 cylinders, that is.
Yes. Anyway. In 1932, this 060 became part of the Baltimore and Ohio and renumbered to 390. And a few years later, it was renumbered to 1190. So still a 90, but then retired from the B&O. It doesn't say when it was retired though. It was sold to the Ohio River Sand and Gravel Company at Point Pleasant, West Virginia. When its fires were dropped for the final time, number 11, I almost said 911 for some reason. Number 1190 was donated to the city. Oh my God!
What?
Nothing. I feel horrible for almost saying 911, but
Yeah, what were you thinking? Buying a Porsche? Sorry.
I don't want to.
Carry on.
I don't know about you, but I don't want to Porsche that joke any further.
Doing it as a joke is not good, period. Continue the story.
Anyway, but we gotta stay entertaining, Ryan, because while they are here to learn, we might as well give them a laugh while they are here, using their time. But anyway, 1190 was donated to the city of New Martinsville for display. And during 1979, the 060 was moved to the Mad River and Nickel Plate Museum in Bellevue, Ohio, where it languished in pieces, and its wooden cab rotted away. So a similar sad fate to 1187. Huh.
Slight pattern. I guess 1190 has a little bit of a downfall because it's missing one piece of its smoke box door.
Well, let's see here. In 2008, the museum sold the engine to Scott Simmons of Dunkirk, New York. Mr. Simmons hoped the engine could be repaired and operated, but those plans were never materialized, and 1190 was sold to the Age of Steam Roundhouse in 2014. Due to its many years of being stored outside, this 060 and its tender show significant deterioration. It survives today not only as a B&O steam locomotive, as the sole B&O steam switcher, but also as the only existing BR&P locomotive. Not British Rails. The engine awaits an in-depth cosmetic restoration where numerous parts will need to be recreated or replaced. Holy crap. Okay, so I actually didn't know. I didn't know. Why did I gloss over this one? I feel bad for glossing over this one now.
Yeah. You should also consider the fact that it's the only 20th century built B&O steam locomotive to be preserved outside of Baltimore.
Oh yeah. So, and not to mention, well, it's the only B&O switcher left in the world too. So crap.
Very few B&O steam locomotives from the 20th century actually left, if you think about it.
Huh. Well, how come I never knew about this? I don't know. How come nobody ever told me? I don't know. And whoever didn't tell me, fuck you. No problem. Anyway. So last time...
I guess I couldn't have told you, but I wasn't here in the last 2 streams.
You already said that.
You were working.
Yes.
Anyway.
Out there in the real world, making a job.
Anyway, though, let's get to what was originally going to be the first locomotive we were going to talk to. Who is joined?
Josh is here.
Mr. Josh Mann.
Oh, Josh the Posh has joined.
I'm beginning to say the joke is ready for today's joke, though?
Oh, yeah.
So you guys are actually breaking up a little on my end.
I'm ready.
Leave and rejoin to see if that works.
I'm ready.
Since I'm not going to be in the stream, probably, I just seem to get the joke of the day out of the way. Well, it's more of a quote to say. They're just people them. You guys still feel like you're kind of breaking up quite badly. Alright, see you later, guys. Yeah, okay. See ya. Okay. Andrew.
Konnichiwa, and fuck you. I have connections to the Russian mafia, and they are coming to break your legs. What am I
You're
doing?
kind of breaking up, so you may have to hang up and rejoin for just a little bit.
What am I doing? Like, anyway. We just, I don't know why I felt like doing that, but anyway. Before we actually continue, I'm going to take a look at the chat.
Yeah, can you actually hang up and then rejoin? Because it sounds like you're breaking up.
Okay. Hold on. We just, Teddy.
I think that sounds a bit better.
All right.
You can kind of rant on about a certain Pacific now.
Well, not yet. First,
Yes, 1278. Here comes the sad noises.
Which, before we do that, I want to read.
Talk about it. But while you talk about it, I have a little fun fact to share halfway through the story.
Okay. Well, let me get to. I'm going to read the thing that it says on 1278's thing, but please correct me if I get something wrong. Even if you're watching this on the stream, correct me. I will not complain. If I get a fact wrong, I will absorb it.
Holy shit, Andrew. You actually sound, you're breaking up really badly all of a sudden.
I'm breaking up really badly?
Yeah. Yeah, you're still breaking up pretty badly.
Hold on, let me just, is that better?
I think that's better, yeah?
Is it? Okay. Anyway. So, let me just shine the light on me. Okay, here we go. So, before that, though, I wanted to read the chat. So, yeah, see, visitor amount. Everyone can agree with me here. The B&O should have preserved some of their T3482s. Yes! Yes!
One moment.
Yes! Yes! What? What's going on?
Dang, you're still breaking up pretty badly.
What is
I
going
thought
on?
it was fixed, but it wasn't.
Hold on, let me just like damn. Sorry guys, but did this work? Hello?
Yeah, we can still hear you, but I think you're still breaking up pretty badly. For whatever reason.
Yeah, it says that my connection is a little bit poor for some reason, and I literally don't know why.
Oh, well, you're on your computer, you said, right? Or on your phone?
Phone.
Are you on your phone or your computer?
Phone.
Phone. Do you still have a lot of mobile data on your phone?
Yes.
Maybe try just turning off your Wi-Fi connection and then switch to your mobile data for a little bit. Then maybe rejoin the Wi-Fi, see if that helps. Sometimes that's a little trick that I sometimes use to get pages loaded up, and it seems to work pretty well, actually.
Oh, well, let's see. Okay, is that better?
Testing.
Testing! Ah!
I think I hear improvement.
Alright, I guess I'll read the chat. Also, do you think the B&O should have preserved their streamlined Pacifics that pull the
Cincinnatian?
Yeah. And do you think...
Honestly, sure. More B&O steam engines in preservation would be nice.
Not to mention a streamlined one.
Especially since, as Andrew pointed out in part 1, Jerry Jacobson got to drive a B&O steam locomotive when he was just 14 years old.
I wish I could have gotten to drive something like that when I was only 14. And yet, barely this year, I'm going to, oh yeah, I haven't told you guys this, but this year, I'm going to drive my very first steam locomotive.
You're going to drive 29, 26 for a little bit, aren't you?
No. In my dreams, but anyway. I'm actually going to be driving Cripple Creek number 2. Which is actually a German industrial switcher that came here to the U.S. and was rebuilt to look, and I quote, more American, apparently.
Nice.
But yeah, I might talk about that more later. But anyway, let's get to the actuals. Now that we got the audio crap figured out. Sort of.
What was that noise? It sounded like somebody rejoined on Discord or something.
It's just me. I'm trying to make sure I can hear Andrew more clearly.
Right. So.
Hold on. Let me actually try switching to my phone. Maybe that helps a little. We just disconnected from the charge cable too. Come on. Alright, I'm going to join you in the chats on the phone. You see, where's the notification for the call? Wait, what? Oh, that's odd. I'm looking through, but there's no notification for the call here. Hold on. I'm going to start a new one.
This is the yes, the one episode where we start. Okay.
No, I connected. Lol.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if I can hear you now. Oh, hello, Mr. Raz. Fascinating. We're having a few technical difficulties because we can't seem to hear Andrew that well. He keeps breaking up pretty badly.
For some reason, and I don't know why.
That's like a skill issue on his end.
Anyway, though.
Or internet connection. He's having a skill issue.
Hold on, let me actually reconnect it to the Wi-Fi, maybe. I'm sorry for...
See how Josh wanted this. Wait, I gotta do this real quick.
What are you gonna do? Don't tell me.
Yep. Here we go.
Is it working? I connected my phone to the Wi-Fi again.
Yes. Anyway, for that, stroll is out of the original.
What is going on with my connection?
That was the gotchi roll, Andrew, not the Rick roll. You got a gotchi roll.
I know, I still did the... dun, 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 dun.
Well,
Anyway, but I could also barely tell because it was breaking up on my end too!
oh, fucking hell.
Okay, but now, I mean, I can hear you guys better, but... Okay, anyway, can we please just get to the subject?
Yeah, I talked about 1278 already.
Okay, anyway, we talked about 1293 already, which, they're sisters. With, 1278 was built in, 1948. It's 462, obviously. Same specs as 1293. 90-inch drivers, 20 by 28 cylinder, 250 psi boiler, 34,000 pounds of tractive effort, but the intriguing part about 1278 specifically is none other than its story. It's, in my opinion, I think it's had one of the most tragic stories of any steam locomotive in preservation. All right, but yeah, this specific example was one of only 30 that were actually built during 1948, though. It made them a little bit more modern, obviously, because better equipment of the day. But anyway, though, as I said earlier with 1293, that, well, they were retired around the same time. The thing is, though, they were both bought by the same. Well,
they were preserved at Steamtown initially.
Yeah, in 3 in total were preserved at Steamtown: 1246, 1293, and 1278.
Pretty nonetheless, because all 3 of the G5s there were purchased in 1965.
19. I forgot to mention that. But I think you guys already know about Steamtown, USA. Some of you do. But at this time, it was still in Bellows Falls, Vermont, which, the crew modified. This was the time that 1278 became 127, which, as Steven used to call it, the Steamtown Beauty Treatment. Moved the bell.
So top, bell mounted in front of it. I think that's about it.
Yeah.
As well as, remembering it from 1278 to 127.
Plus a visor headlight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that little insignificant change that I barely noticed on the engine's bulb. Sorry.
It's like a.
Sorry.
It's like a cap.
Let's not forget that one time it double-headed with a certain overrated locomotive.
Which oh yeah. Anyway, so Jim already mentioned.
Here's a little fun fact that I wanted to add.
Yeah.
Number 1278 or 127 at the time was actually seen in the 1968 romance musical Funny Girl. And starred Barbara Streisand of all people.
I want to bet that the movie actually wasn't funny.
And she also reportedly stood inside the locomotive's cab during film breaks once.
Anyway, as Jim mentioned, with these modifications, well, the thing is though, this engine, of course, operated under quite a few different excursions until Steamtown moved to Scranton, Pennsylvania, finally, and which the world.
Okay, here's another goof you made up.
What? Wait, made up? What happened?
I mean, here's a little goof up you created.
What?
Tulsa Nate was taken out of service in the mid 1970s.
That
It
didn't.
was actually replaced by 2317.
Side note: it doesn't mention that on the Age of Steam Roundhouse's thing, so that's their fault. But
Yeah, they could get a few things wrong as well.
despite them owning the locomotives,
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to be aggressive. I love you, Age of Steam Roundhouse. Anyway,
you can come up with on top of your head.
but anyway, though, so you know what, Ryan? For a little bit, would you like to? Well, I mean, we're already at that point anyway. That 1278 was replaced, of course, and traded to the Gettysburg, or the Getty Me Out of Here Burg, with a certain crippled Mikado, or I'm gonna call it the Canadian McCripplenut.
Really, 2317 is more crippled than 3254 by a little bit, but that's a different story.
Yeah, but Canadian McCripple. Oh my god.
Yeah, 3254 apparently isn't as bad as 2317. That thing is just glorified crap at this point.
I'm sorry.
I'm to make that harsh remark again, but it's true. It's true.
I'm sorry, I can't get over that name I randomly came up with. Canadian McCripple. It sounds like, imagine if McDonald's sold a sandwich called the McCripple. The McCripple?
But also, I think in other news, Andrew, I think I can now hear you a bit better all of a sudden.
The McCripple.
That as you used to.
Oh my god. You know what, guys? Let's confuse some people for a while. When you hashtag McCripple.
Man, we get the drill. Ultimately, 1278 ended up on the Gettysburg Railroad. Very shit maintenance. Then in 1993, it got that ground sheet failure, and
95.
In 1995, it got that ground sheet failure and internal boiler explosion. Fortunately, the engine got up relatively lightly in the grand scheme of things, and fortunately, despite being pretty badly burned and somewhat wounded, the crew did manage to make it out alive.
Canadian McCripple.
It's in fairly rough shape, but I think it is somewhat repairable, though it's going to take a lot of time and money, like everything else in this hobby. And yes, in 1998, it moved its way into the Age of Steam Roundhouse collection when Mr. Jacobson bought it at an auction.
I'm sorry, oh my god, okay, that's one of the funniest things I've ever come up with. McCripple! I'm sorry for anyone who's actually physically disabled.
Going ape shit over FRA's current rules again.
I'm sorry for anyone here who actually is physically disabled.
We apologize.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. Okay. What's next? Let me take a look. Did we talk about that Decapod already?
Wait, what?
Did we talk about that Decapod? Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, we did, I believe, last week.
I talked about 401 already. I saw you guys talk about it already.
All right, then that means that the next locomotive is the one from the thumbnail.
325.
Wait, is 6325 smaller than 763 or?
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually smaller. just
Yes,
like
it
the
is.
other movement.
The Northerns of the Grand Trunk Western were remarkably small for their wheel arrangement, to the point that the Berkshire is bigger.
Huh.
And more powerful.
Well, I don't know shit about 6325, so go ahead, take it.
Yeah, this is probably a good time to tag Raz and.
Raz! Raz! Raz, get your ass in here! Raz! Oh, Raz!
Because let's face it, he knows more about 6325 than all three of us combined.
Yep.
Where is he? We need Raz. Raz! Raz!
Most likely,
I'm drowning. Raz, I'm drowning in lack of knowledge.
Backlots of eBay.
Raz, I'm drowning in lack of knowledge.
Or he's just hanging around at the backlots of the Fort Wayne crew, or whatever.
Anyway,
Let's just say probably any railroad museum or preservation group in the Midwest. That will be perfectly accurate if I'm being brutally honest. Because let's face it, I think Midwestern American steam is his shtick.
Yeah, how was it not?
Okay. Well,
He lives in Michigan.
I guess we're gonna have to stick to the Age of Steam Roundhouse's page, which, as we've learned, doesn't have 100%
Or
accurate.
you can also read its Wikipedia page.
Which one's
Because
more
last I checked,
accurate?
It was actually pretty detailed.
Well, I do want to, I want to get these done quickly, so we'll try to, because we've been doing this for 3 episodes. Well,
This stream is already on for 37 minutes or so, and we haven't even gotten to the big stuff yet.
yeah. Well, we're sort of getting to the big
You
stuff, I
want me
guess.
to talk about 6325 for you guys?
Yes, please.
Okay. It's one of quite a few 484s. It's here. Hang on just a second.
Meanwhile, I'm just running the Challenger in Gmod in a loop, and a loop, and a loop, and a loop, and a loop.
Yeah. In case you forgot what the Grand Trunk Western is, it's one of 2 American subsidiaries of the Canadian National. And 6325 was one of 25 484 Northerns, or Confederation types as they called them, built by Alco in February 1942.
I'm sorry.
Classified as a U3B, with a tractive effort of 59,034 pounds. So yeah, is it weaker than Berkshire or what?
I think it is. I think Berkshire's at like over 60,000.
It's weaker than 33.
Mm-hmm.
How fast were they? At
And it
least
has
were they?
250 pounds per square inch. Imagine that.
250 psi boiler pressure. What's the size of the cylinders?
Oh, the cylinders, 26 by 30 inches.
And the driving wheels?
73 inches.
Huh. I thought they would have been
Still
smaller,
bigger than
actually.
611's wheels.
I thought they would have been smaller, actually.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, 6325 was used to pull passenger and commuter trains around the Chicago division, as well as Detroit, Michigan, and some towns of Indiana. But it was eventually downgraded to pull revenue freight trains. But then in 1948, the locomotive pulled President Harry S. Truman's campaign train across Michigan on Grand Trunk trackage. Because of that little significance, it was after it was retired in 1959, it was donated to the city of Battle Creek, Michigan, for static display. But then, here, let's see. It was given a cosmetic restoration, well, throughout the 60s and 70s. And especially since it was given a modernized Grand Trunk Western logo on its tender for some reason.
Oh yeah, some people hate that.
Yeah,
Well,
me too.
especially Dan.
Modern liveries don't look good on steam locomotives. I literally saw like someone made like some sort. Well, the Queen's actually. I'm gonna admit the Queen's livery. It looks all right. It looks all right. But I saw someone made a Photoshop of 4449 in an Amtrak livery.
I don't like that locomotive very much, and even I can testify that sounds fucking disgusting.
It's worse
Yeah,
when
I
you
saw
look at it.
It was not very pretty.
Look,
But anyway,
guys, I'm gonna be
in
honest.
19
Let's take a moment here for a second because I mean, 6325 can wait for this. But if you're gonna make if you're gonna make photoshops, try and be actually like silly about it. Like, make sure that it's across that it's supposed to be silly. But if you're actually photoshopping these, like genuinely hoping that they come to fruition, I think you need help. Because
But in 1985,
yeah,
I'm continuing the story here.
yeah, go
In
ahead.
1985, a group called Turntable Incorporated tried to start fundraising to restore number 6325 to operating condition. They purchased it for just $1, but plans to rebuild it never fully materialized. And then in 1993, Jerry Jacobson bought the locomotive, and it took him several years, or actually, he just moved it to his Ohio Central Morgan Run shops, and restoration didn't even begin until 1998. And on July 31st, 2001, it moved under its own power for the first time in 42 years and started pulling excursion trains between Denison and Columbus, Ohio.
Wait, Ryan.
Hmm?
How much did Jerry pay for it from, the guys who are already bought? Did he pay $2?
It doesn't say. I guess it was $2. Uneducated guess.
Yeah, you gotta make money back somehow, even if it is just $2.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. 6325's excursion career only lasted 3 years, 2001 to 2004. But it wasn't to say that nothing was spectacular there, especially since on September 11th. Oh my God, I feel so terrible about this. I'm not going to explain that little event there 6325 was involved in. Skip, in 2002, it pulled a series of photo freight charters alongside the after-mentioned 1293, where both locomotives ran side by side with each other. They could have double-headed, but I could be wrong. And then the locomotive took part in the 2004 Train Festival alongside a few locomotives that were operational at the time, especially some visitors that I know jack shit about because they're just 040 Sal tanks. But
I'm actually kind of curious. What was the problem with 6325 in 2001 on September 11th? I'm sorry. Like, we can just...
okay. That day, September 11th, 2001, was also the anniversary of a tragic accident that was involved in that particular line with the Pennsylvania Railroad.
Oh man, that's right in the feels. That's right in the feels.
Now you wish I didn't tell you.
I guess so. That is unfortunate, man.
Yeah, to make it worse, it was actually a small military train.
And it happened on the same day as an even more infamous disaster. God damn it.
Oh my, the series of unfortunate, it is a domino effect of unfortunate, well, not dominoes, but more like a pylon of unfortunate events.
Terrible coincidences in this case.
Yeah. Even I feel terrible.
Now, let's
I hate
move on.
9/11 memes. Imagine that.
Well, guess what?
Let's move on.
I got
Yeah,
two.
let's move on.
I got 2 stay bolts and a this.
But
I was-
why was 6325 removed from service so early, you may ask? Well, apparently just a couple years later, for some reason, Jacobson decided to cease steam train operations. But then in 2006, 1293 was fired up, but he never fired up 6325 again for some reason. But I keep hearing rumors that, or at least we've been hearing rumors that the locomotive's running gear needs serious work. Yeah, this is why I think we needed Raz, because he knows why the locomotive is still out of service.
Raz is the genius. Raz, bless us, please, heavenly God. Raz, please come out of my 3D printer, please. Raz, here, I give you a sacrifice.
But now 63.5 just stands alongside a certain other locomotive Jim can talk about next.
And it's still 763. Ironically, a Berkshire that I don't know that much about, other than the fact that it's one of the S2s. So, it's obviously a Lima build engine. What does it say, 1944, just like 765?
Yeah.
Let me double check the tractive effort of the nickel plate S2s. Oh, it's all the same for all the Berkshires. That's beautiful. Thank you for standardization. 69-inch driving wheels, 245 psi of boiler pressure, and a pair of 25 by 34-inch cylinders, resulting in 64,135 pounds of tractive effort.
Nice.
Shit, 6325. But yeah, was retired somewhere in the late 1950s. I want to say 1958 or something. Just kind of hung around at the back lots in one of the AKP's yards, I suppose.
Come out, Raz, please.
It made its way into preservation somehow. I believe at first, I don't know where it went to first, but I do know that for a little bit it actually, as I keep using this
donated
term,
first to the Virginia Museum of Transportation first.
I was about to say, I know that it did spend some time at the back lots of the Virginia Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia. But yeah. When I say it's hanging around at the back lots, it's like one of those locomotives that not a whole lot of people pay that much attention to, or it doesn't fit into the collection or something. But then I believe in the late 2000s, I want to say 2008, it finally got moved to the Age of Steam Roundhouse. It's been there ever since.
And must I say, it looks fantastic now.
Yeah, it's actually been pretty rough for a few years, not going to lie. It even kind of looks like, of a picture that Ryan sent of the image at the old Roanoke Transportation Museum, that number plate almost looks photoshopped on.
Yeah, it was actually there in real life. It's not even Photoshop.
Yeah, but it looks so weird that it almost looks like it was photoshopped on.
And you forgot to mention that it was almost rebuilt to operating condition there.
But then I believe those plans were canceled out due to the fact that, 765 is already operational, 1225 is already operational, and 2716 will soon be operational as well, or operational again as well. And of course, 759 has been operational in the past as well, so I guess there's no real demand to have the engine rebuilt to operational condition.
Wait a minute!
You want more operational 284 Berkshires in the States.
Wait a minute! What's wrong with more Berks? How many 484s do we have running?
Plenty.
Yeah, so why can't we have plenty of Berks?
I have no idea.
So why is the demand there? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put a tally. Name all the 484s that you can think of that are running. First one that comes to mind: 611, 2102, 261,
4449, 844.
Does 2926 count right now? Because
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
And 3751.
I guess that because it's does 700 count?
Channel 700.
Oh yeah, okay, 700 counts then.
I guess you could say 614.
No, it's not running.
No.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. Okay.
Should Illinois Central 2500 or 2542 run again? I would like that. I would. We could use another mountain type to operate, not to mention an Illinois Central one.
Everything good, Nick? If
Yeah.
somebody has the dedication to it, sure.
Yeah. But still, we need to think of more 484s.
Now that we've talked about the two big locomotives that already are completely in Sugar Creek, Jim, I think this is the moment you've all been waiting for a while now.
Yes.
The big chongas.
Jim, unleash the beast.
What, you mean?
Unleash your knowledge upon the land.
Hold on.
My arms are absolutely enormous.
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
Hold on. What do you mean the beast? Do you mean Billy Harrington? You remember him? But of course, no. You're referring to the biggest steam locomotive at the Age of Steam Roundhouse right now.
Yes, my Can Crusher.
Really, there he is. But it is. What's better than a 284 Berkshire? A 210 Ford Texas type. Ladies and gentlemen, Bessemer and Lake Erie, number 643.
Awesomeness, the big
Let's
chungus.
see.
By the way, don't confuse it with PRR 643. That thing is ugly. Anyway.
No, it's not necessarily ugly, but it do be sus.
Well, I think
Let's
no,
see,
not Bessemer and Lake Erie 643. That I like that thing how it looks.
Yeah, it's
I'm talking about Pennsylvania 643. That thing is ugly.
anyway, Bessemer and Lake Erie locomotives. Why not just also do a tiny rundown of the whole class? There were as in total the BNLE. I nearly said BLNER again, lol. But they had 47 of these Texas type locomotives built for them by several manufacturers. Mostly Baldwin, but a few also from Alco between 1929 and 1944. In 8 batches and classified through 7 different subclasses, H1A to H1G, with 643 being one of the H1Gs. Yeah. 47 built between 1929 and 44. Tractive effort, monstrous. 64-inch diameter driving wheels, 250 psi boiler pressure, and a pair of huge 31 by 32-inch cylinders, resulting in a tractive effort of 102,106 pounds of tractive effort. Yeah. Polkas.
Isn't that more than a certain articulated?
Yes, it's more than 39.85.
My God!
Wait,
And,
is it more or less than a certain UP 3-cylinder locomotive?
I'm not going to go into detail about that yet, but anyway, let's keep on trucking with 643. Yeah, built in 1944. I don't know exactly when it was retired, and at first I thought that I believe in the late 1970s and early 1980s there was a restoration effort for it, and it was almost completed actually. And there's actually an old piece of video footage of the locomotive on YouTube where it's actually moving under its own power, but it's compressed air. Like
Wait, send me the video immediately. Send me the video now.
Hold on. Bessemer and Lake Erie 643.
Send me the video.
Hold on.
I hope that next time we do the cool wall, that locomotive is put on.
Yeah, it's not much running. It's just moving into a shed, into a big shop building. But yeah, it did move on its own power somewhat.
By the way, for those who don't know,
yeah, this was indeed in the late 1970s, early 1980s.
Side note though, I don't decide what goes on the cool wall. Like,
I think it was in the 1990s, actually.
Also, I got a somewhat unsettling notification, but I'll tell you that later. But there were two different stories that I heard. One of them is that I believe the man who was leading the project had died, sadly, and the engine was just subsequently landlocked. Or the other case is that the person who led that rebuild didn't die, but he just kept the locomotive basically for himself, and he had it for sale or something for a ridiculously high price, or he didn't want to sell it, and and he thought that he could get the thing running on a nearby tourist railroad or something, but, the locomotive was just too damn big. And it was kind of landlocked in McKees Stocks or McKees Rocks or something in Pennsylvania. But in the late 2000... but in the late 2000s, the late 2010s, I believe somewhere in 2019, I think, the locomotive was carefully disassembled into pieces and moved, and parts of it already moved by truck to the Edge of Steam Roundhouse.
Which currently, currently, from what I know of, the frame and the tender have been, I think it's just been the boiler and the tender that have been moved over there. But my question is, what is their plan with 643? Because, most likely it's going to be a cosmetic restoration, but imagine what else they could do, because it was so close to actually running in preservation. But then again, why would you restore something that big now? And where are you going to run it? Because, as said, he had problems finding a place to run it, maybe. Well, but...
Yeah, and you may have also forgot to mention that how the Ohio Central guy was one of the silliest places to sell a steam locomotive. eBay.
Well, actually, I got a question. Where can I buy a steam locomotive?
Try Ozark Mountain Rail Car. I'll share you a link later.
Wait, what? I was just joking, but I'm actually
Also,
interested.
are we finished with the subject matter?
Basically, but not yet, because we still need to talk about some of the locomotives that used to be there, but currently are now in different areas. First one, I want to talk about. Can I talk about number 26?
Do you know what it did on the Ohio Central?
No.
Well, you can try. Look at its Wikipedia page at least to kind of help you describe it.
Okay.
If you want to talk about it.
So, for those who don't know, for those who don't know what 26 I'm talking about Baldwin 26, which if you want to, it's currently operational at the Age of Steam not at the Age of Steam Roundhouse, at Steamtown National Historic Site, or if you want, and it's actually currently on its running days right now. So if you want to, you can go ride behind it. But anyway, which unless you're fine riding behind it as well as witnessing tons of other locomotives have been rotting into the ground, basically. Okay, but I'm not actually. Yeah, I think I'll be able to. But anyway, 26 was built in 1929. Well, of course, by the Baldwin Locomotive Works. Particularly, this one was actually made for those shops, if I remember anyway. It's got 50-inch drivers. Let's see. Boiler pressure of 180 psi. 20 by 24-inch cylinders. And for some reason, for a locomotive made in the 1920s, it's got square slide valve. It's got slide valves instead of piston valves. So that's interesting. But the tractive effort of this little boy is 29,375 pounds. Which, side note, for some reason the air pump on 26 is louder than the actual locomotive. Is that weird, or is it just me?
I guess it should be weird. What do you think, Jim?
Sorry, I'm a little preoccupied. Also, Riso is chucking in a few comments about how dumb it is to purchase a locomotive, or rather, where he can try it. He also makes the argument that preserving a locomotive or rail car is no easy task.
You could say that again.
Yeah.
Especially since, well, I think you guys know where, what kind of predicament I'm in right now with 769. Which, if you haven't, go support it! We're really close! We dug her out! Anyway, but let's continue with the matter at hand. So, interestingly, though, 26 actually has a couple of nicknames. Chugga and Rover. I mean, I thought that was an interesting thing to mention. But anyway. So from what I can tell of the Wikipedia page anyway, it was retired from actual revenue service in the 1970s. Which, is that true, Ryan? Or was that...
It depends. Do you know which railroad it was used by back then?
Let me see. So, oh yeah, here we go. The Jackson Iron and Steel Company. That was when it was retired in the 70s. It was retired from this company in the 70s, the Jackson Iron and Steel Company.
Yeah, and I think it was number 3 back then.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. It does, and for some reason, it also says Nickel Plate Road 17.
Yeah, it'll tell you why a little bit later, but continue the story.
Okay, but anyway, after that, if I'm pretty sure, let me see here. First preservation in 1979, right? This.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1979 at the Ohio Central Railroad, which I actually saw some footage of that little thing running there. So that's interesting to see. So I still don't know why 26's air pump is louder than the locomotive. Seriously, someone explain that to me. But anyway. Oh, wait, Riso actually... Oh, also, slide valves are more ideal for switching and shunting since the locomotives are traveling at low speeds. I understand that, but you'd think that it would be easier to maintain. But anyway, though, so yeah, looks like we got a new viewer. Interesting enough, but let's see. By the way, Riso, if possible, you can correct us if we're wrong. But yeah, that's all I know for now. When it comes to that, but from what I can also see, it was also retired again in a...
Want me to tell you about its Ohio Central life?
Yes, please.
Okay, so 26 was about to be cut up for scrap. No joke.
Wait, what? Already in this? Okay.
In the late 1970s. In fact, the scrapper guy was so close to, he had all the tanks ready, he had the blowtorch ready, but then Jacobson literally walked towards him and gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
What kind of offer? How much?
It was an undisclosed cost, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty big. Bigger than the locomotive scrap value. Talk about being saved at the 11th hour.
Yeah, literally saved seconds from being cut up. So 26 was saved literal seconds from being cut up?
Yeah, from what I've heard.
Maybe an hour or so, actually, but yeah.
Well, scrapping was delayed for the locomotive, actually, but
damn!
Yeah, Jacobson saved it. He actually still often saw the guy who was about to cut up, and he was basically like, there's a guy who took the locomotive away from me. I could have made good money off of scrapping it right there. And also, here comes the part where why it was just dressed up as a fictional nickel plate locomotive. It was the very first steam locomotive Jacobson operated under his ownership. Even before he purchased the Ohio Central, in fact. But when he decided that he wanted to operate longer excursion trains, he knew 26 wasn't capable of producing enough power output, so he went to Steamtown and traded in exchange for the after-mentioned 1551.
Oh yeah, yeah, we talked about that in the first part where we discovered that it was actually traded, and yeah, okay. But anyway, continue.
26 was subsequently repainted into somewhat original livery, albeit it was painted black in the late 80s and all the way until 1999. But now it's painted, would you call it Brunswick green if it's dark green?
It's just necessarily, but it's just dark green.
It's more like a cactus kind of green, you know? Like a sort of, it has like a hint of yellow into the green. Which honestly,
not a very notable one.
Which honestly, I would be lying if I said I didn't like this livery, because I do. Yeah, it's not Brunswick green. But what kind of
Yeah.
green is it? What kind of green is it, though? Seriously,
Looks
actually.
like military green to me. Well, let's just move on.
Maybe. But yeah, what's the other locomotive that isn't there now that used to be there?
Well, I'll talk about this one myself, and then you can talk about the last one, Andrew.
Okay.
This one was actually 1278's former running mate,
1246.
Mississippian 280 number 76.
Oh. Oh.
It was initially constructed by Baldwin in December 1920 for the Jonesboro, Lake City, and Eastern as number 40, not to be confused with New Hope number 40. But it was used to pull passenger and freight trains on the railroad's branch line between the towns of Jonesboro and Bytheville. Bytheville? Please don't swear at me if I mispronounce that. Either way, it's in Mississippi. In 1925, the railroad was purchased by the Frisco Railroad. I'm not going to go into detail about its extended name because Jim hates it.
I'll just mention it just to be, just so people who prefer that have their satisfaction. St. Louis and San Francisco Railway. But please, just refer to it as the Frisco. It's easier.
Anyway, because of that purchase the following year, number 40 was renumbered to 76 and proceeded to operate on the same branch line, but the Frisco also reassigned it to operate on other branch lines in Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, maybe even Tennessee. I guess you could say it was used for occasional yard switching as well. Because, can you think of it that way, Andrew?
Yeah. I mean, then again, it's not uncommon for 280s to have also been used for switching.
That's what I thought. But then, February 1947, the 76 was sold off to the Mississippian Railway, small branch line operated between Fulton and Armory, the town they were interchanged with the Frisco.
Did you just say Fulton?
Yeah, Fulton. You know, Fulton.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but you know who Fulton was, right? Robert Fulton.
I kind of forgot. Can you explain a little bit?
Robert Fulton was the inventor of the world's first steamship.
Oh, fuck.
Which, no, like,
How did I not see that as a coincidence?
yes, side note. We do talk about trains here a lot, but I also love steamships. Anything powered by steam, I enjoy. But anyway, let us continue.
What's the...
But when it comes to preservation, 76 was retired from revenue service in 1965. Then 2 years later, it was sold to the late Sloan Cornell. Was looking for a steam locomotive to replace his 060 switch number 8 on his Penview Mountain Tourist Railroad in Pennsylvania. Then the locomotive was shipped on Pennsylvania trackage before it was loaded onto a truck for the remainder of the journey of the tourist line. The locomotive entered service the following week, pulling passenger trains out of Strangford alongside the mountain ridges of his Cornell's farm, and became his favorite locomotive to run around for the next several years. But then in 1973, Cornell moved all of his equipment to a former Pennsylvania branch line downtown Blairsville. We began a new tourist operation in the form of the Blairsville and Indiana Railroad. But 76 was only fired up twice in 1974 and 75 for some reason. Then in 76, no pun intended, 1976. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Cornell moved his equipment to the Gettysburg Railroad, where a former Reading branch line was very recently put up for abandonment. So yeah, I guess this is the founding of the Gettysburg Railroad. There's a sort of a prequel after you guys talked about 1278. 76 was actually the very first steam locomotive to operate there. But then Cornell got his hands on Huntington and Broadtop Mountain number 38, which he slowly began to like more than 76 due to its higher efficiency. In fact, he took 38 with him to the also late Knox and Kane Railroad, where he spent more time there, and that was pretty much where the Gettysburg went down the crapper, because he left the railroad in charge of his son, James.
His son?
Yeah. In fact, he was the engineer of 1270 when the firebox exploded. Imagine that. But after the Gettysburg Railroad fell, 76 was actually sold at auction along with 1278 to Jacobson. Of course, Jacobson wanted to restore all of his steam locomotives, including number 76 at the time. Well, think of it this way. 76 was actually the only Frisco steam locomotive Jacobson touched, not counting a certain mountain type. Because he owns an auxiliary bartender from that. I'm not going to go into detail about that. But for some reason in 2005, he sold the locomotive to the Steam Railroading Institute because they were looking for a running mate for 1225. But then, since the locomotive didn't serve any historical significance in the state of Michigan, he replaced it. They replaced it, and then they got rid of it to the B&O Railroad Museum. Not the one in Baltimore, but the one in Oakland. The locomotive was traded tenders with some other 280, and now it's masquerading as a fictional B&O steam locomotive. Probably because, as we said earlier, there's not very many B&O steam locomotives left.
Which is disappointing.
But, yeah. Right now, there's a high chance that 76 may never operate at its own power again, especially since a certain sister engine is operational in Canada.
Explain. What sister engine?
Alberta Prairie number 41.
Oh.
Or Mississippian 77.
Okay. Well.
What do you think of the story now? If you were paying attention at all.
I will say, I'm gonna be honest. It's like a roller coaster. A literal roller coaster. And then it just ended on the lowest note possible. Especially since, currently it's in a livery that is... Anyway, but...
With a smaller tender, no less.
Yeah. But anyway, though, I think...
The grand finale of your part, Andrew?
Yes. Which, since I've been kind of observing most of the time anyway, it is time for me to talk about the time that my favorite all-time steam locomotive in the world went to the Ohio Central Railroad. Which, if you don't know...
Reading 2100.
Yep,
obviously.
Reading 2100. Which, if you saw me holding those stables earlier, these are from that locomotive. Which, I have stabled 373 and 377. Okay, but... So... As you may know, that when the 2100, after being a parts donor for the 2101, was lended over to literal dozens of owners, and Jerry Joe Jacobson was one of them for a small period of time. There's not really much special about the fact when it was at the Age of Steam route, when it was at the Ohio Central, because it wasn't there for very long. But I will say this. Just very recently, the 2100 has passed its very first hydrostatic test.
That's good news.
Yes. And, well, currently, now they are actually replacing the flues, checking out the superheaters, and they're going to be replacing the flue soon. And along with 2102, we'll finally have another T1 back in action. Which I'm gonna be
You
honest,
don't know the full story of it out of Ohio Central, did you?
not the whole story. No, I don't.
Okay, let me explain it just a little bit again.
Yeah, because
Jacobson never necessarily owned 2100. It was actually sold up for sale at an auction in the late 90s. Jacobson actually briefly repaired and repainted the locomotive and test ran it on the Ohio Central. And he actually gave a pretty high offer to the owners at the time. And in fact, for one night photo session, he put it next to his other steam locomotives, as you can see here.
Hold on, let me take a look.
Yo, that picture, yeah, that I've seen that just a few minutes ago.
This is officially now one of my favorite photos ever.
But Jacobson never officially succeeded to get 2100 because guess who he lost the auction to?
Richard Coombe, former CEO of Lionel Trains.
Nope.
I swear to God, if it was...
Oh, no, wait. Are you talking about the Canadian man, Thomas Paine?
Yes.
Shit! Shit! Wait a minute, though, actually.
The engine moved to the Golden Pacific Railroad in near Tacoma, Washington, where it had a short and pretty pathetic career in tourist operation before it just kind of sat there sidelined somewhere. And then the Grunge organization that's rebuilding the locomotive got a hold of it, and they're also going to fix Mr. Payne's mistakes. Payne converted the locomotive to burn oil, but he didn't do a very good job at it. So the 2100 is going to be reverted to a coal-burning locomotive.
Yes.
Coal burner, that is.
And actually, side note, now that I think about it, if 2100 was successfully bought by Jerry Joe Jacobson, then most likely, actually, 2100 wouldn't be being restored right now and wouldn't have gotten another chance of running. It would probably still be in the roundhouse.
Yeah. In fact, Jacobson would have kept it if he actually owned it. Or at least if he actually won the auction.
Well, I guess that on that bombshell,
on that interesting bombshell, how can we sum up? What's our final thoughts?
Vast.
What?
It's a vast hodgepodge of locomotives. Some of them popular, some of them obscure as shit.
Some of them popular, some of them strange, some of them powerful, and then some of them just disappointing. Soft and disappointing.
So it kind of averages everything in general.
Well,
and on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.
Yes, good night, everyone, and we will see you guys in the next episode, which I'm going to keep as a little surprise.
Are you going to keep it as a surprise now?
Yes, this one anyway. But next time we will also be continuing on the Cool Wall, because
setting up some locomotives.
Yes.
Now, but what I have to say, you guys actually did a pretty good job talking about locomotives in the last two streams, other than one